is indeed. So sometimes if I go, I feel more stronger than if I don't go. I believe myself, but when I go to those kind of places and that makes me more strong. That's what I think.
So what happened? We're trying to get deeper is into like what happens, what makes some people like as an imam here. I see it in myself first, but I see it also because I'm dealing closely with people. I'm dealing with people in a close level. You see sometimes somebody, this brother or this sister, they come more often to the masjid, and you can tell they come to Fajr. It's a sign, of there are some things I could be right, I could be wrong, but this brother is more attached to the masjid at this time, or prays more often and asks questions, and even the level of prayer and how he or she is focused in salah, that tells you something. Some other times he or she disappears for some time. We're not here to judge or we're just here to see what could be going on in the life of that brother or that sister that makes him at this portion. We do have universal times that at least sweeping majority of people would come back to Allah somehow. Hajj time, Ramadan time, uh, usually when they lose somebody or calamity or catastrophe happening, people feel weak. But there are some other times that you just feel you need to go back to Allah. Could it be the need for Allah that sometimes, we go into the desert of life and we are far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for so long that we are running after life and running, but then we come to the time that we lose our breath and trying to catch up. And it's subhanallah, when you are drowned in life problems or just issues, day-to-day issues with the kids, with the family, with the school, whatever the person could be going through, and it's just overwhelming. I mean, it's a part-time job today to just check your emails and text messages and what people send and see what's going on today as far as the news, if you are interested in the news, or check the Facebook or anything that the daily routine of the average people of nowadays watch TV sometimes. You become kind of, could be sometimes a full-time job for, or taken longer period of our days. So could these be elements that affect our iman, our faith, that takes us away from Allah, and then it's too long that we are not as focused or as dedicated for salah, for prayers, for faith, for iman, for thinking of Allah, for reflecting, that we get to the point that we are hungry and we have the feeling that we need to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know that, one of the points is when somebody is having calamity somehow, he has a distress, he lost a job or something, or he lost somebody. Those are times that, and Allah told us this in the Quran. فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا, like he was criticizing or blaming tyrants, groups of people, like he sent them punishment or he sent them some kind of test somehow. And then he said, if only when they were touched, when our power had been shown to them, ba'suna, when it comes to them, like in a form of punishment, tadarra'u, if only they come back to Allah and they make, they become more devoted to Allah. Because it's either way, some people, when they are punished, they might go even worse than they were, or lose faith completely. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, no, if only when this happens, when they come back to Allah. So that means that sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might test some people to get them close. When He is testing also the other form of test, because Allah said, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ, we might test you, we test you with evil, or with what's bad in your eyes, in your sight, and what's good, with evil and good. Like good is known to us, prosperity, a lot, abundance of everything. That's good. All of these are for us good. But Allah has His own standard, has His own things. Bad for us is sickness, disease, lack of money, lack of resources, not as beautiful, all of these things. But you never know. Allah's standard is different. Maybe the abundance of money, we look at it as good, but might not be good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might test us sometimes with this. You know, when He's testing us with prosperity, we should be grateful. But sometimes people go away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe He is testing us with some calamities that we come back to. We know that we're helpless. I mean, you count a lot in your, that person who's the closest to you, now he is gone, she is gone. And it happens to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when we, and that was even clear, the people who give comments on the seerah, they said, yes, it was done, yani it was destined to happen this way for a purpose, that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, being in Mecca, so so desperate for help in every possible need for help, for support, for assistance, at least the emotional, the spiritual. But at this very moment, he would lose the two people who are probably the only two, the biggest sources of help, spiritual help, support for him. His wife, Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha, and the kind of strategic or tactic help that he's getting from his uncle. And in some narrations, he lost them with a difference of 3 days. And then entire people of Mecca, they would now dare to do things that they never did to the Prophet ﷺ before. And he will move to a different city, At-Ta'if, and he will face one of the harshest moments of his life. Was it a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take, the Prophet ﷺ to the lowest of conditions ever that anybody could be faced with to test his faith? It could be. It happens to us. And it could be one of the moments that it's a real test for our faith is when a problem is happening, when a calamity is striking. So, back to the question again. What are, he was talking about tajdeed al-iman, or renewal of faith in one's heart, based on personal experiences. What are those moments? Take me to your life and share some personal experiences that you felt. When I do that, when I say that, when I am around those people, this context and this place, my iman is high, is up. Meter of faith is going up. Personally, did anybody have anything?
When I'm alone, I told that when I'm alone, I thought that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm the most sure that I thought of something. Somebody is it stay with you 1 or 2 days, but then they're going to be saying.
Right.
That's what I.
And could it be for that reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets some scheduled things that we could do, and they are different? Prayer, for example, 5 times every day in set times. First thing in the morning, last thing before you go to bed, and then in between. And that's prayers. And then Ghaddul Basar, you have to, lower your gaze as you're going. So many things that are set. Ramadan will come in a certain period of time. Hajj or Umrah here and there. Being patient, adhkar al-sabah wal-masa. All of these things are set. So like doses of medications, you take it, that works should work for a couple of hours, or that, maybe azkar al-sabah wal-masa, this is the 12-hour dose that works for 12 hours, and then you have to say the night adhkar, or the prayers that you, other different from salah, the dua or the supplications that we say in the morning and in the late afternoon, which is 12-hour, effect. But what I really want to share is, personally, when I see somebody is not having what I have, especially health. When I see somebody is sick or having difficulty to walk, that every time, yani, subhanallah, every time I see something like that, it strikes me very hard. I can walk, and I take it for granted. And I see this lady who is, for any reason, she's too old, or especially I don't want to talk about specific persons, but sometimes you see a lady walking here in the street and she's so old, she's practicing. When I see her and I say, SubhanAllah, I'm just getting to the car, and I come and I run, and I just take it for granted. I don't remember that I give Allah thanks or shukr for me being able to walk, maybe amongst other things, but I don't really pay attention to. But that's that raises my defense. I don't fail to see that when you see somebody being, you know, sick somehow in prayer here. My brother, like myself, just happened to be a little bit older or having back problems, and I can do the sujood when I can see him having pain in prayer. So I feel at those times that I say it in myself, the hadith. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you see somebody being tested with anything in his body, physical, and you say to yourself, Alhamdulillah alladhi afani, Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah, the one who, you know, made me safe from that or not being tested like him or her. مما ابتلى به غيري, from what he tested others, you refer to the other person, yourself, with وفضلني على كثير ممن خلق تفضيلا, and he kind of favored me or gave me a grace over a lot of people. That you know, that is probably what takes stress away from life. And what brings stress away from life is you see how other people are being prepared over you because they have more knowledge, more money, more degrees, more whatever they might be having. What makes faith, iman, go up? And how, what does the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mean when he said Jaddidul Iman, in a form of order, imperative, command? You renew the faith in your hearts, talk to the believers in one hadith. Jaddidul Iman fi qulubikum, because Iman is just like a thawb or the cloth. When, you know, after some time, you know, when you get a new cloth, it's, you know, still new, it's kind of brand new. But then you wear it 1, 2, 10 times. It has been there. It's been there for a month and 2, year and 2. Then it doesn't look the same as it was new. It wears, you know, wears up. So faith, he said, faith is likewise. So you have to renew it. Make sure that you renew faith in your heart. As we eat in scheduled time, we're supposed to exercise, periodically walk and do things like that to take care of our body. Iman is likewise. What else? You said special ayat when you read, or special parts from the Quran. Do you remember any other specific ayah or verse that you read? Or? So as you're just reading, probably reflect on one specific ayah, kind of sticks in the mind. So that definitely happens too, especially when it's addressing a recent situation or something that's going on with you. And sometimes it happens that, well, this is what happens to me. I already know the ayah, but I didn't think of it this way, or I was not paying attention to, you know. Now we read it and it addresses me or addresses my situation. What should I do at this time? As if it's, you know, Quran is alive and it's just talking to me right now at this time. I know some people, even though some scholars don't like this, but some people, you know, they turn to the Quran physically when they are trying to make a decision, or they just, it's a kind of a, it looks to me like more of a game, but I don't think it's too bad anyway, or you should avoid it, anything. Some people I know, at least few of my friends, they used to do it. They come to the Mus'haf, they're trying to, you know, make a decision. They open the Mus'haf and see what the ayah is talking about. And then they will tend to interpret it their own way. I mean, what is it telling me, yes or no? I don't have any examples, but you will probably read it your own way. But sometimes it works. I mean, sometimes it works. Right.
One time I shared a story, I think it was that's where, um, after a few years of our marriage, we were in London, and we were thinking about whether we wanted to have a kid or not. And there were a lot of financial reasons, you know, that we at this time. I decided to pray to God out, and I did this in the conference. It went right to the ayah, you know, don't kill your children, fear of poverty, you know, I said something to you and for them. Just that same night I opened, and that was a Christmas market. So, maybe more young, so that was
So just on the head.
exactly. I didn't do anything. Just opened the page, found the Christmas market, and started reading. And it may not be a legitimate answer, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's a coincidence, let's say, but how did it happen? Why? I need an answer, specific answer. It couldn't be any clearer than this. As it might be, some people, the ayah couldn't be talking about this. It's not necessarily talking about their situation, let's say, your situation in this case, but they will tend to interpret it somehow that it's telling me yes or no. But it couldn't be any clearer. This doesn't say anything, but one way of understanding it is do not kill your children, which means, you know, go ahead and do not stop this. Okay. One more thing is really personally that I don't even know how am I gonna do in that day when you read the ayat or hadith that's talking about the day of judgment. This is one thing that I feel completely overwhelmed. I'm talking about things that it's hard to even understand or comprehend completely. I mean, standing in the sun for that many years and going here and going there, it looks everybody looks helpless. You can't do anything in this day. You can't. And I know, I'm talking to people of faith in here. Somebody could lose faith in this time. I mean, it's impossible to make it through. But the other way around is no. I mean, the only hope is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can't really count much on my actions. I have to do the actions. But what it looks to me is I have to be sincere. I have to, the only thing that could work that day is not how many deeds, not how I've done that much. No, you have to be sincere. So, and I believe in many of these ahadith, it's sincerity that will make, like in one situation, difference between a hypocrite and a true believer. The hypocrites will go, ironically, it's kind of, irony that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is setting it to be this way. They used to be with the believers physically, so they will be with them physically, walking with them and going through stages, like passing through some stages, so they will feel like looks like working. I mean, believers are passing this, getting to the next, you know, uh, stage or something or whatever it is, they go through with them, but then they get to the level that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Hadid, فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٍ. There will be a fence between them. There will be a door, kind of a door between them. The fence is one side that's facing the believers, بَاطِنُهُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. It's all mercy. The other side is going to be and light. The other side is going to be completely dark and adab and punishment. And they can still feel them and hear them. And they're so close to just a fence, a little fence. And they say, Alam nakum ma'akum. We're not we together? We were together. I mean, قالوا بلى. The believers will say, yes, definitely, you were with us. ولكنكم فتنتم أنفسكم. But you um, followed the ways of deviation yourself. You decide to go the way of crookedness and deviation, hypocrisy. وتربصتم وارتبتم. So, hearing about al-mizan, the scale of deeds. How many things, how many deeds do I have, and how my situation will be there? And remembering the hadith, beautiful hadith actually, I believe it's the most important hadith ever that we have to think of. Al-Bitaqa, it's called Hadith al-Bitaqa, the hadith, that's how it's famous among the scholars, hadith of the card. And simply, the hadith is talking about the somebody who has 99 scrolls and books and registers of bad deeds. Each one is to the extent of your eyesight. All of them are bad deeds. Bad deeds. That person has done everything, right? Done everything bad. But he came with La ilaha illallah, with a small little card, and all of these will be put in the scale of bad deeds in front of him, one after the other, and on the other side is almost empty. And when the decision was about to be made that you're doomed, you're gone, take him to the hellfire, angels would say, hold on, he still has one little small card. And then he was kind of laughing. I mean, what is, and other angels said, what is this card? Card of a good deed, has something good in it. What is it going to work against all of these things? They will put it in the side of the good deeds, and astonishingly enough, it will be heavier than all of these deeds because it has the name of Allah, and the name of Allah, nothing could be nothing could be heavier than it. He was a true believer, a true believer. True believer could make sins and mistakes. It's not, definitely it's not, this hadith is not encouraging people to make mistakes, but it's rather encouraging people to stick to La ilaha illallah no matter what. Stick to the essence of faith, no matter how bad the person could be, and until you die on it, because that's really what's going to work. So thinking of all of these, makes your iman go up and makes you focus more on the iman rather than the quantity of actions. How can we elevate, revive faith in our heart?
Let's identify things that trigger, that relationship that will come out and focus on anything.
Like,
Not really, everybody's thing is different. People mentioned reading Quran or being in a kind of doing the things that really revive your spirit and people's energy. Um,
so it's basically, I like what you said, basically your relationship with Allah. How is it? The relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how is it? How strong is it? Is it a formal relation? Is it an intimate, close relation? Do we count on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do we remember Him? Dhikr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do we really remember Him? Not in this kind of formal way, but I remember Him. It's time, we eat. That's that He sent us this food. I remember Him. I see that person who's sick, or I see His bounties on me. So the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the essence of faith, by the way. This is the very root of the faith. Faith in Him, which means belief, tasdeeq. Do you believe in Him subhanahu wa ta'ala? And is this faith alive in your heart? Or just because faith is different from ma'rifah, it's different from knowledge, information. Like, I know there's Allah. I know that actually shaitan has the ma'rifah. Devil, Satan. He knew that Allah is Allah. And He is his Lord. He knew that. Because when Allah created Adam, shaitan was there, Satan was there with the angels. It was so good of a creature. Worship Allah. Then Allah ordered him to make sujood, to prostrate himself to Adam. That's how he wants. But he refused. And then the point is that he said, oh my Lord, I'm reading the, oh my Lord, I'm better than him. قال ربي كذا كذا. I'm better than him. You created me from fire, created him from dust or mud or soil. ربي فأنظرني. He is making even dua, like asking Allah, oh Allah, delay my life and I will show you. So he's challenging Allah, but he knew that he is Allah. So ma'rifah by itself, or knowing that Allah is Allah, God is God, I know there is super. That's a key point in here between somebody who's been served and he knows there is God, and somebody who gets to that God and see what this God wants from him. You see what I'm saying? So somebody knows the laws. Yes, I know there are laws for the country. I know them. I know it's illegal to let's say, yeah, exactly. You know it's illegal, but your knowledge is not enough unless you do the action and you comply by the law. But if you know and then you do not comply by the law, and then you say the policeman, the person stops you, and you say, no, I know the law is not to prostitute, it's not going to benefit you. So here is the faith and the knowledge. Knowledge enhances the faith. And you have to have it. Faith in Islam is not blind. is not based on following, blindly following others. It doesn't work. Actually, Allah criticizes people who follow blindly. So it's built on, based on knowledge, but the living form of it needs all of these things that we are talking about and much more, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this deen very vast. Provide us with reading Quran. We can talk about all of these: reading Quran, dhikrullah, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Siyam Ramadan, Hajj, helping the poor, the needy, all these and so many other things that we can do. But the essence of it is how healthy is our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can we build this relationship and in return increase our faith with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Ya Allah. Yes.
One of the things that I feel maybe I don't know if it's similar or different than many people, but you mentioned that a lot of people I think are very overwhelmed by the ayahs that talk about the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Qiyamah. Even though those verses are very strong and affect me if I'm reading it with concentration, I feel like the ayahs that talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy are much more overwhelming for me. And can really move me in a way that's much stronger than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment. Um, and move my heart a lot more. Even if that's one thing about me personally that also on another note, I don't know how to say this, but yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is that someone else's emotion, I kind of like really love carelessly through other people's emotions. So if I see somebody who's hurt or crying, it hurts me so much. And that hurt that I feel also is very heavily impacted in my relationship with Allah. It doesn't have to be something that I feel, even if you're watching about, for example, things that are happening in Syria. That was, I'm making two different points, right? Two different points. And then you read in the Quran, and you wonder, like so many people wonder, why this happened, why this happened to people of Iraq or the people of all different countries, the Muslims, Bosnia in the past and even now. And then you read the ayah that says, وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا خَاصَّةً, something to that effect. Like, don't, I don't know how to translate it. I mean, the fitna that doesn't only affect the people who are oppressors, but everyone in general. You find like solace in the answer that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this is going to happen. And it hurts your heart so much and you don't understand it, but you find that explanation and that prediction in the Quran, and it increases how it moves something that
And you took me to something interesting. My point was not complete. I was overwhelmed by ayatul adab, or the verses in hadith talking about punishment. But then all of a sudden, and that's the meaning of mathani. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we reveal مثانية تقشعر منه, like, which means pairs. Could be one of the meanings could mean Quran's verses are meant to be in pairs or different patterns, if you like, where usually Allah talks about Jannah and the next ayah or next couple of ayat will be talking about the hellfire, or the opposite. He will be talking about the believers and then he will compare and contrast with the disbelievers and non-believers. He will talk about rahmah, mercy, and then punishment, or the opposite. So and the true faith, according to the scholars, is to have 50% of that and 50% of that. 50% of fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it shouldn't be more or less. And 50% hope and raja in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Equally, those are, according to Ibn Rajab and some other scholars, that they work exactly like two wings of a bird, that they should be completely balanced so the bird can fly. Because if you tend more towards adab, punishment, and get completely overwhelmed by the punishment and hellfire, then yes, or despair is going to be there. There's no way you can make it after reading all of that. And if you do the opposite, just focus on ayat al-rahmah, it's going to make the person, do less work and not, just hope, live by hope, and regardless of any, the need for good deeds. And that takes me to the Quran. It takes you like deep into the hellfire. Astaghfirullah, yani, walayadu billah. When he's talking in Surah Al-Haqqa, for example. Actually, it started with the believers first. It's talking about he describes the punishment, the judgment first, and how Allah is great, and how يحمل عرش ربك, 8 mighty angels are carrying the throne of Allah. And then he got to the believers, فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه, those who got their books with the right hands, books of deeds with the right hands, which means they are the winners. فيقول هاؤم اقرأوا كتابيه, he will be so happy and proud and will say, call and everybody, hey, everybody come on and read my book. I want, like, when you succeed, when you pass certain tests, you want all the community to know. You want everybody to. I'm very proud. You posted and you have right to do it. So that person won, the real one, the real winning. And now he would say, هاؤم اقرأوا كتابيه إني ظننت, I had all the faith that I am meeting that day, or I am coming to that day. فهو في عيشة راضية, he will be in a life full of satisfaction. في جنة عالية, in a jannah, in a high level of heaven. قطوفها دانية, where anything of its fruits are going to be so near for you to pick. كلوا واشربوا هنيئا, they will be called eat and drink هنيئا, which means like enjoy it to the full. No digestive problems, or just getting the good parts of the food. بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية, because of what you used to do, actions you did in the past days in dunya. And then it moves, you feel like you're there in Jannah, picking the fruits of Jannah right now, and you imagine it, like if scholar said, you think of a fruit, branch is going to come to you. What color, what size, whatever, and you eat from it and done, it's going to be taken. But then all of a sudden, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ, but for the person who got his book with his left hand, and it goes on to describe how this person will be chained. ذراعها في سلسلة ذرعها 70 ذراعا, he will be chained in a chain that's 70 arm spans and thrown to the fire. And then describes the food. It's so bad what they eat in there, and what they drink, and how they live. This surah Al-Haqqa, describes that. So it takes you here, and then right there gives you a similar dose of kind of day and night flu medication there. This is day, this is night, or this is Jannah, this is not. This is people. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to do that too. He used to give similar doses of that. Sometimes it depends on the situation. That's the overall perspective of our faith and fear and hope. But sometimes a specific person, or a person in a specific situation, might need more of that, or it could be more of the opposite. Like somebody who lost, he's sick. Let's say he's sick and there for a long time happening. That person needs more of raja, thinking of the mercy of Allah, thinking of positive, versus someone else who has no good deeds and he has gone so far. This person shouldn't think about rahmah much, because if he think much about rahmah of Allah, he will go on more and more. You know what? The Prophet said, Allah forgives somebody who kills 100 people. I never killed, or I killed 1 or 2. I'm not even there yet. Keep thinking Allah Ghafurur Rahim. Allah is forgiving. I'm not going to go back. But now, for that person, he needs to think about the hellfire. He needs to think about the warning of the punishment, this and that. Do you have anything to share? The question is that I need to address and we need to focus on is how to revive faith in our heart. Talking about the day, thinking about the day of judgment equal rahmah and mercy and punishment. Reading ayat and reflecting on the ayat and building a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the ayat al-Quran. What else did we talk about? Being around situations and circumstances to increase our faith, being at halaqat, could be friends, could be some people, could be some places that increase the faith. Those are four things that we talked about. What else? Thanking Allah. We talk about thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything that you have, not failing to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are blessed with something, especially when it is taken for granted. You can walk, you can, things that you take for granted. Feel and appreciate that. I think it increases the faith as well.
Have you ever been to a Sufi conference?
Uh, Not really, but I know the Sufis and what they do. But even the Hadras, it varies. Some people take it to the very extreme, and some people just meditate and reflect.
Yeah, sometimes it has
This is the extreme form of.
a lot of, like a lot on the very minimal level, like it's just a cloud and remembrance. It can be a very strong reminder of,
Yeah.
like, dim lights and just thicket and approaches and seeing people. I went on a couple of times in Syria and different levels of different ones. Some of them are very, very inspirational and really, really feeling uplifted and really amazing. And even now, the big cities like in Washington, D.C., for my friends there, or in California, they have the bigger communities that do something like that. Believe it or not, long time ago here, it wasn't called a supercomputer, it was called a night of victory. They used to do something like that. In the houses, the ladies would do something, and they would sing and do the good together. It was very nice, for the girls and moms. And I feel like most people leave feeling very refreshed.
Closer to that, with less controversy, will be Qiyamul Layl that we do sometimes, and more specific is Ramadan. And what else can I think of? Tahajjud, yeah, or Ramadan events, these things.
The thing with Qiyam Day is that it makes it different. I know we're kind of taking the conversation, so I won't take too long.
Dhikrullah, this is definitely one of the items.
But with Qiyam and Tahajjud, usually there's one leader and everyone's following, whether you're paying attention, losing track, something, it kind of is it. But with Dhikr, when everybody together is making this collective, in unison voice of remembrance of Allah, it moves everybody collectively in a different way. And
I know what you're saying, and it's kind of controversial,
yeah,
but you can always do that and get to that level. It's not the dhikr that they say, or it's more of the system that they adopt. But you can say the same thing, let's say,
did you have any
by yourself.
Robert Diamond?
They will quote some ayat and hadith. It's bottom line, it's a controversial thing, but she's quoting the point of let's revive faith through remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, I know Al Azhar, where I studied, is mostly Sufis there and some Shuyukh, and again you can see the levels, the different levels. And we know of Shuyukh who used to sit down almost all night long, and they have their the saying everybody has his own way. Some of them will take it. This is my thing tonight. I'm going to mention Allah 70,000 times. I'm going to say that 70,000 times. Problem is when you make it every night and in the same way, that becomes like, why are you following this system? But let's say if you decide to go tonight and say, I will spend the next 2 hours repeating this zikr or reading this ayah or reading Quran and it's you are plunging yourself deep into remembering Allah because you're gonna do it continuously for some time. And everybody has his own way. I have one of my shuyukh. I didn't study much with him, but he was a famous, respectable alim yani in Azhar. He didn't teach me, but he had his own masjid in Egypt, one of the districts in Egypt, Sayyidah Aisha. And this is his way of doing things. And I don't think it's bad or anything, but that's his way. He prays Isha. I prayed with him one time, Salatul Isha. I think I mentioned this here before. I was interested to go and check it. His name is Sheikh Dr. Usama Abdul Azim, if you want to check. He's not famous anymore. He's one of the Zuhad, the people that you read about in the books. He does things, extreme things. This is one of those things. I joined his, I'm not going to mention what happened, it's going to come in the story. I joined his masjid to go and see the special Salatul Isha that he prays. First, he prays it very late. Like usually we pray half an hour after. No, he prays 2 or 3 hours. In one hadith, it's better to pray Isha. If you delay Isha, the more you delay while people are asleep, that means more work. But that's not doesn't mean that this is the best way. That's if the Jama'ah all agree. But if it's more convenient to make it earlier, you have to make it earlier. That's going to be the sunnah. But he is adopting certain way. What is this way? Is he prays so late, and he goes on. I still remember until now. He started reciting from Surah Al-Mu'minun, which is a little bit after mid Quran. Like Quran is 3 juz, so the middle of it is Surah Al-Kahf, 15 juz. So this is like 4 or 5 surahs before the middle, which is, you can say, almost half of the Quran. He started reading it in Salatul Isha, and he finished the Quran. We kept praying and praying and praying. He's reading, but he was fast, so fast. This is his way also. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون. Like this. That's the text. I couldn't imagine that I did it after I finished, but he did it. And at certain times, I didn't feel my knees. They are not there. I get to the point that I'm trying to check on my knees. Are they still there, or my back is gone? I don't know. But you get to a point that you feel the beauty of it. Oh my God, that's special. I never go back again anyway. But yani, it was so special. And he has his own masjid, and it's 6 stories, I still remember. And we could hear back there the masajid. Usually sisters are in the somehow high, area where they can see the brothers, and they are close. You can feel their existence. So kids are crying sometimes. So you know that there was a lot of sisters. Masjid was full as if it's Taraweeh in Ramadan, and the 6 stories are full. So people come from everywhere somehow.
Or not during Ramadan, right?
Not during Ramadan, just regular. Yeah, he finishes probably the Quran 5 6 times a week in the prayers only. That's not the night prayer. That's just the Isha, and he finished it before midnight. I mean, we're done before around 12, maybe 11:30 or something. He started 8:30 or 9. Took him like 3 4 hours and reading. So this is his way, and then he would. It's his own place. He uh, he has his own way. So yes. I mean, taking things to extremes, you have to be very cautious to where you're going and check on what you're doing. You can always do qiyamul layl and extend it and make it longer. That's usually what happened to, very personal, but that's what happened to me after Ramadan. I'm afraid that I keep advising people like make qiyamul layl and pray at night after Ramadan, because it's going to be hypocrisy to pray that much, but then Ramadan is going to pray that much. But usually what happened with me personally, I continue closer to the level of Ramadan for a few days, maybe for a couple of weeks or something. But I know it tastes a little different than when you're here leading, especially the Imam reading, not much focusing. But when you read it for yourself at home, it feels different somehow.
Yeah.
You see?
There was one of the in a different extreme. I went to see a different types of gatherings in Syria, and some of them were very strange and even uncomfortable because you're not used to it, but also you feel like there's a religious discomfort. But the one more extreme one that I'm certain was probably in the realm of, definitely not acceptable. Um, my aunt used to follow this Sufi tariqa, so she took me with her, and she wears niqab. So she told me that don't go to the men's section because it's not appropriate. And I said, well, is it exciting to go to the men's section? She said, no, the men's section is much more, like they move a lot more. They do things. And she said, but don't go, okay? And I said, well, I won't promise you. When she started, I took her in the car, and she can't leave without it. And she said, don't leave. And I put it on and opened the men's section, and it was very like how they described. First, it was very exciting to see, but it was also very,
Kind of dancing. It's more if you don't hear what they're saying, you're just dancing left and right and
it's
making
dancing,
circles.
but they do that, like, they start off saying Allah, and then it's not even Allah, just more sound and jumping, and,
Hmm.
it's,
So only the brothers do
the
that.
sisters weren't, they were just moving a lot, but the brothers don't. Yeah, it's not, acceptable.
Insane, insane. Well, now with the video, the YouTube and internet, you see all of these kinds of things. I see people, I see sometimes, but probably that's not our focus. But it's there. Some people who jump in certain areas in, I think, somewhere in the eastern, I guess it was Bangladesh or something. They have extreme things that's not even logical. They jump, they go to certain tombs and they believe that they have to jump somehow, or they are, yeah, they any newborn baby, they have to throw him from the top of this tomb and somebody gets him. They usually have something to, and this is the way of salvation somehow. I mean,
Or people sometimes kiss themselves, so.
yeah, no, those are the categorically crazy people with swords and things. Yes. Yeah, they put swords into themselves, and obviously there is some kind of jinn involved in that process because those are in Egypt too, a lot of them, or some of them are there. No, not the Shia, close to them. Shia hid themselves. Some of them do, but those people are kind of, they said this world has a visible dimension, but there is an invisible dimension that's much greater. And when you get to that invisible dimension, you can walk, you can fly, you can whatever it is. I don't know what's their justification, but they hurt themselves. It's more of sadism for me than faith, yeah, because it's not right. Let's conclude by that, if you like, inshallah. The most important aspect of that, or element of that refreshing faith, is the heart, because it is where the faith is, and this heart is we need to check on from time to time, because it's just like a white page. Probably it's not white anymore, like a plain page. The heart of a baby, for example, you can see it so clear. A smile of a small of an infant is the best thing in the world. Is the most truthful thing in the world. When they cry, they mean it. When they so that's because the heart, which is not necessarily this pump, the blood pump, the inside of that person is so clear. Is nothing is there yet, plain. Then, every time when you grow up and acquire things, and when you make mistakes, or when you not take care of the heart, the Prophet ﷺ describes it with each sin, there's a dot, a black dot. نكت في قلبه, he said, نكت في قلبي نقطة سوداء. Make a sin. Still, majority, 99% white. Then another bad thing being getting away from Allah, being involved in, being more attracted to dunya, because it's like a magnet. Dunya is a magnet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. So magnet is pulling you this way, and Allah is asking you to go against this power of this magnet, and seek strength from Him, and He will neutralize this, or could even give you more of attraction towards Him. Another thing, another time away from Allah, and then you don't want to get to the point that He said, until if the person, He said, I skipped one thing which is very important. He said, when you make something bad, or ask forgiveness from Allah, suqila, which means this dot is going to be taken away, erased, as if you erased it, completely erased. But then if you don't seek forgiveness, or you don't feel that, you don't seek the treatment for that, another dot, until it turns completely black or dark. And then he said, when it gets to that point, it's going to be upside down, which is the exact opposite of al-fitra. Fitra is, a child is not going to kill. That's fitra. That's the initial, the natural way Allah created. The child is going to abhor any bad thing, But when that heart gets upside down, he will enjoy killing. Enjoy it. He will enjoy killing. He will think the opposite. He will hurt others and will be happy with that. He will enjoy getting against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will see the good people as, hypocrites or bad, or those are the people that we need to get rid of. He will see the bad people as the best, and so because all of that because it's upside down, and he would not be able to recognize the good from the bad. And he gets to the level, he said that طُبِعَ عَلَى قَلْبِهِ. He gets to a level that he insists not one dot or two. See how many does it take? It's going to take me probably 2 or 3 hours until I get it completely black, maybe less, but long time. So a person insists, and he keep not willing throughout all of that process to erase, but he continues until it turns complete. That means this person is persistent in doing that. Then Allah will put a seal in there. No goodness is going to get in. No bad things is not it's not going to get out.
The other also the thing is, in Dawah, and I always mention this, that like, we often have to draw for somebody who is doing Dawah, draw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not just what you do. Even when you're trying to work in your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I feel it's so important to ask Allah to help you become closer to Him and God and everything to make me, and basically we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you the blessing and the honor of being close to Him and to help you. Sometimes our own efforts aren't enough without asking Allah to make it easy to facilitate.
Okay. So you get, I know what you're talking about. When the Prophet ﷺ said that, he probably meant that have your level of raja that we're talking about, which is hope, to the utmost when you're making the dua. Like make the dua, ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة, and you are certain that Allah will give you the answer. One dimension of it is He is capable of answering it, and He can. But Allah, it's not an on and off button that you push and it comes to you. This is not how it works. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Hakim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guaranteed, bottom line, He's going to give you something good out of this dua. Being it, answering it if He knows this is the best for you, or keeping it for you in a form of credit, good deeds in the hereafter, or push away something bad from you equal to that dua. So yes, be certain that, like the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, when the angel came to him, after this time that we were talking about, when he lost all the support from everybody around him, and he was in a moment of complete kind of helplessness. And Allah sent the mountains, the angel of the mountains, if you wish, crush them completely in between and smash them. But he said, no, inni la arju. My level of raja, of hope is full that Allah will get from if not them, Allah will get from them, their lineage, some people who would worship Him and not making shirk with Him. So, yes, I make my effort. I make to show them the way of guidance and invite them. I make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them. I understand it's not a process of one-time thing, but it's more continuous process, and you never know. Allah told the Prophet ﷺ, إِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. You do not guide the ones you like. It's Allah who guides and show guide. When, how, is it going to happen or not? It's not ours. It's not under our control to do that. But what we can do is da'wah, as ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Da'wah to them, reaching out to them, talking to them, dua to them, and support, even if they decide not to accept. Yes, we hope that that they will accept, they will make the decision. We talked about this in change last week, that we can make the decision. And the chemistry of that is hard for us to understand. Why would Allah guide somebody or make it easy for somebody to accept, but not another person? Allah knows what's in the heart of this person. He deserves guidance or not. But bottom line, is Allah is Hakim, wise, all wise. He is just. He doesn't work selectively. Like I like that, so take him. I don't like that. It doesn't work this way. He knows that that person deserves that, but that person does not deserve, or it's gonna come at this time. It's not gonna come. Yeah. Wallahu musta'an. Jazakumullahu khairan. By this we come to the end, inshallah. And if you have any suggestions or topic to discuss for next week,